Welcome back to another episode of Whiskey with E. I'm Eric. Now tonight we do have a very special episode. We are doing a whiskey without the E, but it is not from Scotland. We are trying a product from Old Kempton Distillery. It is an Australian single malt PINOT cask. Alright, anyone into their wines? Pinot Noir. Alrighty, so coming in at 46% alcohol per volume, single malt whiskey, handcrafted, classic range. It is double distilled. Alright, check out the packaging. Alrighties. Oh, looks like the distillery there. Alrighties, let's have a look at the back. Oh, look at this. This is what Ralfy would want to see. Alright, what I mean by that is, now right here it says, non-chill filtered. It says non-chill filtered, flocking may occur, so that is when you're adding in water and it may go a bit cloudy because all the oils are, making it look all cloudy. But we are going to uncork this, so give you my first impressions, give you my first thoughts. So pretty much here in Australia, this retails for $220. So, and it comes in a 500ml bottle, guys. So this is what I mean. I'm trying to not think about the price of this to put into effect of this review. I just want to know if this tastes awesome or not, and will it go well with a cigar in the future. So that being said, let's just try judge the whiskey for what it is. I know, but it's hard to say that because obviously I paid my own money for this. Full disclosure, I was not sent this by the distillery. I bought this myself, purely because I thought to myself, cask number 2. Does that mean this was like the second cask that they made here? Actually, anyone at Old Kempton Distillery, can you clarify if these cask numbers mean anything? Is this cask number 2 like the second cask that you made of the Pinot? Alright, here, this is what I mean, guys. Alrighty, so you could see here it says cask number 2, cask type is Pinot. Look at this lovely bottle. For starters, it says here, distilled and bottled in Tasmania, Australia by Old Kempton Distillery, Tasmania. So obviously they produce and, they bottle up their own whiskies. That is good. It is not sourced. Now, let's have a little read at the back, or maybe we should get some poured up and we'll have a little read at the back. But look at how awesome this bottle is, guys. It's like a little square bottle. Now I'll read that for you, but I have reviewed it in Old Kempton in the past. It was the old stables, came like this. Look, even their little sample bottle. This was actually given to me by someone who was actually into their Australian whiskey. So they're like, yeah, try this. So I gave him some bourbon to try. So I decided to try this one day. But enough jizz jazz, let's get it open. And we will give you my full thoughts. Well, I will give you my full thoughts. All right, here we go. I'm just going to do a nice simple cut, I think. Maybe I'm thinking the cork should be roughly here. Alrighties. Now, this should just uncork, I'm guessing. Pause for the cork pop. Oh, nice. It's a real cork. That's a good sign. I mean, I appreciate that. Even though sometimes there could be cork issues and cork damages or corks breaking in the bottle. But you know what? Let's pour some up. And I will just sit it right there for a moment. Oh, actually, I need this bottle, so I'm going to have a little read at the back for you. Alrighty, here we go. While that's sitting and opening, let's have a little read. Oh, yeah. Before I even have a little read of this, right, I wrote some little notes. So Started life at Redlands Estate in Tasmania, lush Derwent Valley. Bill and Lynn Lark are co-founders of what was originally a paddock to bottle operation, but Redlands Estate was sold in 2015 and the decision was made to relocate the distillery to Dysart House, 40 minutes away in Kempton. So Rob Tyson is the head distiller of this distillery. Now that I got that out of the way. So it did touch on the fact that Bill Lark and Lynn Lark, husband and wife, godfather of Australian whiskey, pretty much co-founded and invested on this distillery. So there you go. You know, when they're involved, it's going to be some goodness because he is the godfather of Australian whiskey. Alrighties, I'm going to have a little read at the back. Old Kempton Distilleries, small cask matured single malt whiskey, is handcrafted on our magnificent heritage listed property, first gazzled to sell spirits in the 1840s. Weary travellers would stop at the Coaching Inn overnight on their ride between northern and southern Tasmania, and the local innkeeper would receive them with a good dram. Today the tradition continues, with Tasmanian barley double distilled through our copper pot stills and patiently matured in small oak cask, creating a delicious, rich, floral balanced Tasmanian single malt whiskey, the perfect cask matured dram. And it even says here at the back what Ralfy likes to see. Oh, will it focus? Right there. Non-chill filtered. Alrighties, let's sit that up. Now I am going to move this for a sec. Let's see if it says anything else at the back. William Henry Ellis, founder of Dysart House, was transported from England to Tasmania in 1827 for embezzlement. He was granted a special release shortly after his arrival, and by the 1840s built the magnificent Dysart House in Tasmania's Midlands. First used as a coaching inn, it is now home to Old Kempton Distillery. And then it goes to talk about what it did on the bottle. You know, weary travellers would stop in overnight, etc., etc. Alrighties, now that we got that out of the way, let's get right into the whiskey. So 46%. Let's have a look at this. Let's have a look. The colour, I mean, that is a nice golden colour, guys. Golden amber hue. I mean, it is obviously lighter than the bourbon colour. I have a bottle of bourbon right here, so you could see what I mean by lighter. Not to be confused, it's not dark or anything like that. I am assuming that this is going to be natural colour because Australia, it is small cask, so let's say 20 litres to 100 litres, and it's matured in 3 years in our climates normally. You know, so that is why I'm kind of curious. Cask number 2, what's that mean? It did say that it was bottled in July 2021. Says that right there. If anyone wants to see, July 2021. Alrighties, enough of the jazz. Oh, I'm kind of excited because, you know, I did pay $200 something for this at Dan Murphy's, full disclosure. So 500 mils, is it worth the money? Let's see. On the nose. Loads of vanilla, loads of caramel coming out. Almost like an orange marmalade note. I guess very reminiscent of like a Speyside, half heading into like a Highlands with the vanilla and the caramel notes. But it is very floral. It's a very beautiful nose. Yeah, very malty. I mean, not obviously like youthful, grainy notes, nothing like that. But you can get an element of, there is heat here. I'm getting it on my nostrils, so I'm guessing it's probably, it's a non-age stated product, but I'm only guessing it's probably going to be like approximately 3 years old. I mean, that is like the legal requirement here in Australia, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, I am here in Australia, but even I can get it wrong, guys. Slight apple notes, but not like a Glen Grant Speyside kind of styles of green apples, nothing like that. It's more like a stewed kind of apple note. This is something that you'd probably want to spend time with, guys. I mean, it is over $200 for a 500ml bottle. A very lovely square bottle, even though, but still very on the pricey end. But let's have a sip and let's see how it tastes. Cheers, everyone. In the lark glass, mind you. There you go. I mean, you can tell that it is oily. I mean, it's not just dripping down really fast, if that makes sense, guys. All right, I'm just gonna have a taste, guys. I'm boring you. Cheers, everyone. Oily on the palate. Keep in mind that was my first sip. Now, you're getting a light spice that comes in on the back palate. That just took my attention away from what was going on the first half, but that's what the second sip's for. But honestly, first impression, if I was given this and I did not know it was a Australian whiskey, anything like that, I'll be thinking this is a scotch. All right, so the similarities of Tasmanian whiskey and Scotch whiskey, especially with Bill Lark learning everything, you know, pretty much getting all the tips from Scotland, so everything is going to be very reminiscent of a Scottish style of whiskey. But let's go for that second sip, guys. Cheers, everyone. Drink responsibly. Acclimated. I hope it doesn't go boring, you know, the more you sip this. I'm not saying this is bad. It's very oily. I mean, I'm glad it's at least 46%, guys. You know, coming from I drink a lot of high proof bourbons, you know, so typically I like something that is higher strength. So being $220 something at 46%, that is a really, really big ask. But keep in mind, I have been wanting to possibly invest on the old Kempton 10 years anniversary release, but that is probably retailing for like $350. So I thought to myself, I better taste old Kempton more to see if it's going to be worth me investing on it. You know, keep in mind that release is a 10-year-old age stated product. But you know what, let's add in some water and see how much it changes. But you know what, we'll top up the bottle first, so let's do that. Alrighty, pause for the cork pop. Round two. Oh, lovely cork pop, this bottle. Alright, we're just adding in a little bit more, just for it a little bit more healthy standards. Alrighties. Oh my goodness. What was I doing? Adding in water, eh? I just really want to appreciate this for just a moment. How many minutes have we gone on to? 14. Oh my goodness. Alright. It's almost like a prunes, raisin kind of note, even just jumping out with the ethanol fumes. Yeah, like to me, it's like a really high quality scotch. You know, it's obviously not like you're going to get a blended scotch or something that's not quality malts in there. This has been double distilled, so they do use little copper pot stills. I can't remember the sizes. I think they have been upgrading and getting a whole lot more. If you know the size stills, if you know what this expression, you know what still they use to create this expression or to go age it in these Pinot casks, let me know in the comments. But let's have a little sip and we'll add some water in. Yeah, it's like a red fruit kind of sweetness up front. Then you are going into the malty notes. That light white pepper spice does come on the back palate. We're going to go with a 1 teaspoon, but I probably won't put all the 1 teaspoon in there, knowing me. Kind of, almost all. Alrighty, so let's see what it's doing. Oh yeah, I do see some shenanigans going down there, but I was expecting for it to go really cloudy. But it's alright, it's alright. So with the water, I think it's bringing out more of a barrel note or more of an oaky, almost bringing out more. I almost said peat, but obviously it's, I don't know if it's a peated whiskey or any, it's definitely not peated, but like just the random vibe that I got just from the nose is almost like a medicinal kind, like a peat note, but not campfirey. Maybe it just brought out smoky notes. But you know what? It's very beautiful. The vanilla's there, the caramel's there. You're getting like the fruity elements, like the space side, but none of the green apple vibes. More of a stewed apple. Raisins, sultanas, all that kind of jazz. You know what? Let's have a sip with the water. Here we go. Cheers, everyone. A lot softer on the palate, obviously. To me, I feel the water just took away that spice on the back end. Now, you can bring out you could say it brought out more maltiness, but I don't know, I like the warmth of a higher proof something, so this is why I don't typically even like to add in water too much. But for science, just to see what it does, see what it unlocks, I thought I would, and it is very interesting. But we're going to have to do a side-by-side comparison in the future. Like, comment, subscribe. Is it worth the money? If you are a connoisseur, if you have deep pockets, if you really wanted to experience Australian whiskey, then sure, give it a try. But if you do not have deep pockets and you wanted to save money, then maybe there is some scotches out there that is probably going to be in the same kind of profile, the same nose, but definitely going to be less money. Keep in mind, 500ml bottle, 46%, $220. What scotches can you find with an age statement that is 700ml, that is most likely at 46% too? Not trying to bring down this, just trying to put things in perspective for the consumers out there. But obviously, if you're a collector, if you're a connoisseur, you may want to try this just because it's something you haven't tried, or you haven't tried Australian whiskey yet, and you're wondering what is Australian whiskey taste like? Typically, Australian whiskey is reminiscent of a scotch, like an unpeated scotch. Obviously, there may be peated releases of Australian whiskies, but keep in mind this is the Pinot cask. Hence why there's a lot of that fruity elements. There's a lot of that red fruit vibes. And the more I'm nosing this, the more it's like, yeah, the raisins and sultanas, that vanilla, that caramel. Ah, you know what? It's a beautiful nose, guys. I can't bring down that. Anyways, if you have deep pockets and you wanted to try Tasmanian whiskey from all the way down here in Australia, then I do suggest you try Old Kempton Distillery, because you know what? Bill Lark is godfather of Australian whiskey, is a co-founder of this distillery, so you know they're doing good things. And I guess here in Australia, it's not about high age statements that mean the more money. They focus on small batch. So by using these small casks, it is just more minimal bottles, more or less production. So that being said, it's maybe more rare. I don't know why I'm doing this. Is it rare? But if you're not in Australia, sometimes maybe if you're in Australia, maybe you can't even find this. Is it rare? Let me know in the comments. Can you find it? But if you just like a Scotch whiskey, maybe there's Scotches out there that are going to be half the price, guys. But anyways, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if you've tried this. Cheers, everyone. Drink responsibly.